Hey everyone, this is Joy of Joy Morris Beauty. Wanted to have a honest conversation with y'all right now. I love my Sisterlocks, but I realize that they're not a one size fit all solution for everyone. And so today I'm going to be talking about 10 reasons why Sisterlocks may not be the best lock style for you. Okay, so the first thing is maintenance. So yes, Sister Locks, they are very low maintenance, but when it comes to the actual maintenance that's involved in maintaining the Sister Locks, you are expected to have a loctician and to have regularly scheduled retightening sessions with your loctician. I've had my Sister Locks, I think, going on, no, over 3.5 years. Maybe I've missed two appointments literally around the time I gave birth or right after the time I gave birth. Outside of that, I treat my visits like they're doctor's appointments. I do not miss them. So if that is a bit too intense for you, that may be something to think about. Number two, the cost. So they're not cheap, right? I think in terms of installation, I have heard anywhere from $500 to several $1,000s, depending on the length of your hair. And that can really vary also depending on what part of the country you're in. In terms of reties, I have typically heard between $100 to $200, again, depending on the length of your sister locks. Sometimes the longer they are, the more expensive they can be. And we all need to tip, right? I tip every time because I value and appreciate my loctician service. So it's something to really think about because you do have to add the cost and make sure to see if that's something that might work for you. Number three, finding a consultant that is a certified Sister Locks consultant. So if I had a dime for every post I saw on the lock board where someone was looking for a Sister Locks consultant, I'd have a nice little pile right now. But I see that question come up a lot. And when it comes to picking a consultant, you really have to put in the time and the research to make sure you find the right fit for you. The first place you should go is to the Sister Locks website to make sure you find someone who is certified and promoted by the Sister Locks company. And then something that I have advised a lot of people to do is to go to Instagram, look at their portfolio, and in addition to them being certified, you want to see their work and make sure that you like their work and that you like the look of their work. Now that's kind of like ground zero before you go anywhere else. Now you have to meet your loctician too and make sure that you like them. It's something really simple, but it's really important because as I said, if you are going to retie appointments every 4 to 7 weeks, depending on what your schedule is, you're going to be seeing this person every so many weeks for a number of years until you switch locticians. So in addition to them being talented, you're going to spend several hours once a month and a half or so with this person. You want to make sure that you like them, that you enjoy their company. I know I love my loctician to pieces. So it's really important to just kind of make sure you have that right fit for you. Number four, the time commitment. Now, I know in terms of the installation, mine, I think if you watch my installation video, was probably one of the fastest that I've heard of because, as I said, my loctician, she's amazing. But I'm not saying the other ones aren't, but depending again on the length of the hair, your loctician's installation time may run between 12 hours or a little under that, depending on the length, all the way up to several days. And a lot of times, sometimes they may be working by themselves. Sometimes there may be multiple locticians, depending on what your scenario is. That's something you have to factor in because you may need time off work to complete that. And for the reties too, I know for me, my reties typically take about 2.5 hours. The longer my hair gets, the longer they're going to take. I have heard many more hours than that for some those people who have those long, just sitting looking like a mermaid off the ocean sister locks. Those do take a little bit longer than mine. But the really skilled locticians are super fast, but even with that, you still have to count the cost and the time. Number five, I would say discomfort during retightening. Now, I don't really experience a lot of discomfort during retightening. As you all know, I have alopecia. And so my loctician is very sensitive and very gentle when she reties my hair. So that's not an issue for me. But I would say that definitely when you get your locks installed, if you're someone who's worn weave for a long time, getting used to the sensation of someone parting in your scalp and just that manipulation, even just from the install, can definitely take some getting used to. I know with me, my scalp was sensitive to cold air and wind when I first got my sister locks because I had worn weave for so long. I hadn't had any, I mean, just being honest, I really hadn't had much of any cold, fresh air on my scalp in a long time. So that was one of the weirdest sensations for me to get used to. So if you are someone who has a very sensitive scalp or a scalp situation, kind of like what I have going on, you definitely want to factor that into some of the conversations with your loctician to make sure that they can accommodate that. Number six, I would call sameness. So let me explain. So I think throughout my adult life, I have probably worn dozens of hairstyles, ranging from a short pixie cut to really long, super curly, blonde, red weaves. You have it, you name it, I have worn it. Now, when I got sister locks, I have been wearing my sister locks 24/7. I have not added any hair to them. I don't put wigs over them. Some people do get really creative with them, but for most of us, honestly, in order for them to really flourish, you kind of just kind of gotta let them do their own thing. So that can take some adjustment too. And I've heard some videos where they've said if you change your hair a whole lot of times, you're not gonna like sister locks. Now, I have to disagree with that because I changed my hair so many different times, but Sister Locks ended up being the right solution for me at the right time in my life. When I work full time, I have several kids, I have little to no free time, I need simplicity, I need a routine, I want to look nice every day. I'm not really interested in getting very creative right now. Whereas when I was younger, I was looking for a different hairstyle every month. I came out of that season. I transitioned. I big chopped. I grew my hair. I went into sister locks. 3.5 years later, I still can't be more pleased and more happy with my sister locks, but it is something to still think about. If you still do have that itch and that urge to switch and switch each month, definitely sit down and think about and ask yourself, is it time for you to make this transition or should you wait a little bit longer? A great way to test it is to wear faux locks. I wore faux locks for a while before I actually got my sister locks to make sure I liked the look on me and I liked kind of having the same hairstyle for a little while. That's a great thing to try out before you make the long term commitment. Number seven, texture expectations. So, sister locks, they do not look like traditional locks. And then sometimes your sister locks can look different depending on what texture of hair you have. So, I have 4A, 4C, very highly textured coily, coarse hair. I have a little bit of more coil texture in the front. And you can see with me having my bangs cut, you can see some of my ends are, they're loose because they're probably not going to be I'm probably not going to have these locked as long as I have bangs because I cut them all the time. But you can see like a little bit of my curl pattern at the end. And then my locks lock pretty fast because my hair is so coarse. The softer your hair is, um, those of us who have like more curlier hair, you can definitely see kind of like that curly look with the sister locks, with traditional locks too. Some people, and then that'll take a little longer to lock, but then it'll have more of like that like curly lock look, which is so popular right now. So all of those kind of differences are important to think about. And then the traditional locks versus the sister locks, they look different in the newbie stages too. Sometimes with the grid parting, the sister locks, when you're in the beginning, you might feel like they're very scalpy because they have to expand. So all those things are just something you should think about. Number eight, instant gratification. Now, sister locks is kind of like you have to grow to love them over time. I remember when I came home from my installation, I don't think I put this in any video, but I just kind of laughed a little bit. I was like, okay, I know what they look like when they're mature, but mine do not look like that right now. I'm just gonna rock with it and see what happens. That first year, I went through a lot that first year trying to figure out how to make them look nice for me. And I went through a lot of transitions. If you've followed the videos on my channel, or when you have some time, look through them. I've been through quite a bit with these locks. I love the way they look now. And they're, this is kind of my year now where I'm really starting to get that growth, and it's starting to finally kind of go past my shoulder bones, like my shoulders. So I'm so excited about that. But it's been 3.5 years. It's been 3.5 years versus, earlier in my life, I'm gonna go to the beauty supply store and it's not gonna be 3.5 years, it's gonna be 2 hours, and I'm gonna have this weave in my head. I'm not in that season right now. Not saying I won't play with weave at some point in the future, but I just haven't really been doing it for years. It takes a while for them to lock and to mature, and for you to get to the place, a lot of times, even where you feel really great about them. That first year is tough. I always tell people, if you can make it through that first year, you're okay. So you have to really just kind of put your seatbelt on and buckle in for the long haul, and just really commit yourself to that journey. And that's why we call it a lock journey, honestly. Okay, number 9, product restrictions. So your loctician is going to give you a lot of guidance about what to use and not use on your locks. A lot of people, when it comes to Sisterlocks, don't really like this part of it where the loctician is giving you different suggestions. Usually the suggestions are stemming from all the different hair that they've worked on and what they've experienced, knowing what does and does not work for different hair types and your particular situation. So I followed my loctician's guidance to a T. I did not kind of stray from it, so to speak. And really, a lot of that is kind of what adds to Sisterlocks having that super uniform look. I'm not saying you can't get it through micro locks or any other way, but Sisterlocks is a more guaranteed way. And that was kind of what I needed because I didn't want to put a whole lot of thought into it. So whatever she tells me to do, I do it. I don't really have much of too many restrictions anymore. My alopecia is kind of what I build most of my restrictions around. I still braid and band my bangs because if not, they will unravel since they're not locked. I have learned this from experience. But I did that for several years until they fully locked. I did what I was told, what I was recommended about what would work, and it did. So again, it goes back to trust, building that relationship with your loctician, making sure you have a loctician who has great work that you really like and respect, and just kind of going from there. Number 10, long-term commitment. Sisterlocks are a long-term commitment. I am in it for the long haul. Everyone I know who has Sisterlocks, they're in it for the long haul. I'm 3.5 years in. God knows how many more years to go. I love it and I am on the journey. But a lot of times when I talk to women about Sisterlocks, a lot of them are a little apprehensive about the commitment, the long-term commitment. And usually my advice is you won't really know till you try it, till you're in it to see if it works for you or not. I have heard of people getting locks installed, taking them out, changing their mind, getting them back in, taking them out. And then really a lot of them that I've heard who have done that, when they look back, they just wish they would have kept that first set in and just kind of waited. So it's kind of like that, you're not going to love them every day. You're going to have some days kind of wondering, well, what did I do? Well, I used to really wear pixie cuts. Why didn't I just go back to a pixie cut? You might doubt your choice sometimes, but there's a bit of an ebb and a flow to it. Even if I do have some days where I'm kind of like, oh, what do I do? And I tend to feel like this when I'm close to a retie because you get that grow out, like when your relaxer grows out. You're like, oh man, how do I style this? I got this afro. What do I do? I always come back full circle, especially when I get my reties. I make sure I do my makeup. You'll see me post my little reel. I'm always excited about my reties. It's kind of like me recommitting myself to my Sisterlocks journey and just recommitting to being into it for the long haul. You put in that investment, you follow all of these rules and suggestions to make sure that you have your locks to look a specific way, and you want to make sure that you can kind of reap the results for the long haul. So I know I'm in it for the long haul. Are you in it for the long haul or still thinking about it? Tell me what you thought about these 10 reasons not to get Sisterlocks. Leave your questions and comments in the box below, and I'll talk with you soon. Take care. Bye.